I don't understand no more than you understand.
What are you talking about? You're choosing to overeat and you think it's okay?
Full of fluid that the pores, I don't really have wounds over there. The pores are themselves.
I will do anything for her, no matter what. Are you ready for school?
Another 40 pounds.
All right, wow.
And when you show up for surgery,
strawberry shortcake, an ice cream sandwich, 2 fudge round pies.
all right.
Number 5. Lee flips his lid. This power couple was one of a kind. They could only be called powerful if their weight was read as horsepower instead of pounds. Lee Sutton was a whopping 714, and Rena Kisser was a slightly better 542. Both were driven into the lethal embrace of food by the spectres of their childhood traumas. Rena and her brother Michael had developed a food fixation as a coping mechanism due to the stress from their mentally ill mother and their abandonment of them. Both had checked into a weight loss clinic where Lee and Rena quickly fell in love and had to quit, since patients weren't allowed to date.
At the hospital, you were down to 546. So you lost only 9. She hasn't even had her bypass yet. What in the world is going on with you?
I guess I'm a gastric bypass,
To
yes.
lose weight.
To lose weight.
And you're not losing weight.
Things, I mean...
We gave you the instruction that you need to follow, and you're not following. How in the
I
world
don't see
somebody...
how I'm playing any game. I throw up constantly. I eat what I can...
do when you overeat now?
I think my problem is I'm holding a lot of fluid. I can't hardly pee.
You don't know. And you think that you're not eating and you're getting...
I don't want to get malnourished either.
It means the surgery is working to hold you back when you make bad choices. And it's...
So they did the next best thing by moving to Houston to seek help from Dr. Now. Both struck out on their own, but what became apparent with the passage of time was that instead of holding each other's hands and encouraging weight loss, both became partners in crime and became a tag team for binge eating. After rolling back any progress they might have made at the clinic, they once again set off on the road to recovery, and it would have been sweet but for the mean and aggressive conduct of Lee. This weigh-in at Dr. Now's clinic is a nutshell of Lee's problematic behaviours, which derailed his recovery several times. Number 4. Samantha's choice. Samantha Mason had an unusual job as a fetish model, which saw her make a virtue of her unusual size, eating on camera for paying viewers. Although she had adopted this lifestyle for the cash and confidence it brought her, as well as meeting the needs of a growing teenage daughter, the lifestyle led to spiraling weight gain, which posed a bigger danger to Samantha. Samantha had finally hit rock bottom, and it couldn't go any lower than this. The sight of her using her belly as a table and hearing that she had peed herself twice in bed last night must have been a source of immense distress to the young girl, and it showed on her face.
At first, everything was fine, and then progressively got worse.
I'm so overwhelmed. Stop shoving food in my fat face. The size of the Titanic.
You need to find a positive.
Yelling at me.
Then stop yelling at me. People are helping you. People want good.
It was time for Samantha to seek professional help before taking on such a gargantuan task, and that's how she ended up at Dr. Now's clinic. But did it help? Well, apparently not, since she recorded a soul-stumping 940 pound on a specialised bed and knew that her goose was most definitely cooked. Since her first check-in with Dr. Now, which had been a month and a half ago, she'd gained almost 150 pounds. That's almost 3 pounds per day. It was a heartbreaking moment of the realization that there was only one way Samantha was going to survive, which was by kicking her addiction to the side. The following waterworks are indicative of her watershed moment and the devastation of not eating to please her heart tipped her over into a depression she had a hard time overcoming.
I've seen better days, but I'm doing okay, relatively.
So I see that you're still rapidly, and being in that bed all the time is not helping that. Okay, so what is your weight now?
As of this morning, it was 940.
So...
I know.
So why are you gaining more weight while you're in the hospital? About putting restrictions on your food to help you do that. But so far, that hasn't been on bed rest. So this is a bad situation where you're just gonna gain more weight. You can survive long. And it sounds like your body is already giving out.
Number 3. Bethany Stout. Sheldon, Isabella, and Zoe should have been the center of Bethany's life, but instead became her caregivers. They'd all stitched together a life revolving around taking care of Bethany's eating habits and her physical needs. The only concession Mama Bethany seemed to be making to her family is to put the brunt of the house chores on Isabel instead of Zoe, who was the baby of the family.
What do you want for breakfast?
I'm gonna start with like a honey bun and a muffin, and then if you'll make me... Isabella,
Yeah.
I want to have something to eat while you're making breakfast.
The responsibility for this household. I do all the cooking. I do all the cleaning. And I make sure Zoe...
Yeah.
Put your shoes in your backpack.
Can you help me put my socks on?
Bethany Stout was the 40-year-old who had appeared in Season 8 of My 600 Pound Life and weighed 608 pounds then. So what happened to her to set her off in the wrong direction? Bethany began comfort eating in an unhappy childhood, during which she was neglected by both her parents. During her high school years, she was carnally maltreated by an ex-boyfriend, leading to her developing depression and anxiety, along with suffering from panic attacks.
Good, how are you?
All right, I'm Dr. Nazardan.
I'm Bethany.
Nice to meet you.
I can't stand for very long. I can't walk for very long. Everything just hurts now.
All right.
It become like the way that I cope with depression and anxiety. Whenever I eat, I feel comfort. It's help to change that.
Okay. Well, surgery is going to take away the physical drive.
The only way she could cope with her distress was by eating copious amounts of food. By the time she made her way onto the show, her weight had spiraled. Postpartum depression following the birth of her second child had meant that she'd put on more weight in the previous few years. That didn't stop her commitment from shedding the pounds while on the show. After a few months in Dr. Now's program, Bethany Stout had lost enough weight to have the gastric sleeve surgery. Post-surgery, however, she lost all steam and didn't lose much weight at all, which is why her weigh-in goes on our nasty list.
So I don't know why I didn't lose anything. I don't think the surgery is working like it should. It just doesn't...
To you. You started that hoping in a magic fix. And then you applied yourself 4 months since your weight loss surgery, and you already started gaining again. So obviously, that's what you shouldn't be again.
I don't know. I'm sticking to the sheet that you make sense.
What you're saying is what doesn't make sense. Let me explain some hoping in a magic fix for that. And until you take your psychotherapy seriously...
Number 2. Lindsay Whitty. At 39 years old, this Iowa native started her weight loss journey close to 450 pounds. Lindsay entered into My 600 Pound Life in a relationship with her husband Paul. He was, admittedly, an addict, though he was not addicted to food like his wife. An alcoholic who was aware of his problems, Paul and Lindsay's marriage seemed troubled from the start, but Lindsay took the time to focus on her health and left Paul behind during the filming of My 600 Pound Life. Though her start on her weight loss journey had been a seriously bumpy one, with her dropping the ball on more than one occasion, she became one of the most inspirational individuals on My 600 Pound Life. But you wouldn't be able to tell that with how deep she was into her food addiction. Point in case is her happily munching through a heaped helping of pizza right before her appointment with Dr. Nazardan at his clinic.
But 82 is still a lot.
Thank you.
So you have shown me that you're starting to make the choices.
Right.
All right, superb. And as always, if you need anything, give me a call, okay? To square one. You think you can do that?
Yes.
And the second thing is, we have options with the revision or prevent us from doing the weight loss surgery. So I'm going to schedule you for, and we will move ahead as long as you hit your weight loss goal by the day of your operation. So you got all that.
All right.
All of this was happening as her marriage fell apart, and she finally decided to move to Houston without her husband to make a last-ditch attempt at shedding her weight. At her weigh-in at Dr. Now's clinic, the doctor delivered a stark and serious message to Lindsay that her self-excusing ways will no longer be tolerated if she was to continue with his program. Number 1. Frederick Barnes. Like many people who've been featured on the show, Frederick found extreme comfort in food. His weight had gotten to a point where he could barely leave the house, The only time he ventured outside was to walk to the ice cream truck. At one point, Thedrick reached nearly 750 pounds due to his constant munching. But that's not the reason why he'd been added to the list of extreme weigh-ins. His weight became a life or death situation when he developed a serious heart condition, leading him to getting emergency bypass. His situation was further complicated due to out-of-control blood pressure, a thyroid condition, and lymphedema, which made him pretty much immobile.
I get for you today. Please, what's going on? All right. Let me get 3 sodas. 3 sodas. Appreciate you. All right. So that's how I start my breakfast.
Meat lovers, cheesy bread, wings, and soda.
It was a heartbreaking sight seeing a fully grown man struggle to lay on his stomach, even as he stuffed his face with uncontrolled amounts of food. His myriad health problems caused him to seek the help of Dr. Now Zaradan. Losing enough weight to be approved for weight loss surgery became his new goal in life, and that became what he strived for on a daily basis. He kicked ass of Fat Monster, but was presented with an extremely rough deal by fate when he was given the devastating news by Dr. Now that due to the severe condition of his heart, he was not cleared for any type of surgery.
Close. So, since you lost that weight, I'm going to approve you for weight loss surgery. As long as you lost 25 pounds in the next one and your tests look good, we will move ahead. Then we're going to do some tests on him. In the meantime, if y'all need anything, give me a call.
Okay.
Okay? What do you do differently to support him this time?
I just stuck to...
Thedrick deserves special mention because of the spirit he showed in the face of such adversity, and stuck to his guns, taking the long route to weight loss. That's all we have for you folks. Join us next time